You know, when Shine was spun out of Phoenix, I spun it out really because it was too risky to keep in Phoenix. It sounds a little odd, but it was a very much higher risk profile than what we were betting on with Phoenix, than what people who had invested in Phoenix had bet on, in that the technology hadn't been demonstrated in any capacity. Nobody knew if we could actually do it. The regulatory risk was very high, and it's a very oligopolistic sort of marketplace, and it wasn't clear that a new entrant, that there would be acceptance of a new entrant into the supply chain at that time. And so it was really kind of a long shot, and people who have been there since the beginning sort of know some of the ups and downs. The company almost died in 2013. We ran out of money. We spent about $7.5 million that we didn't have. We had a funding round that we thought was going to close, that didn't, and it assumed, since everything had gone well up until then, that it would. And so a lot of people have really been through hell and back. It was a long shot. It was a home run swing, and here we are today. It wasn't just a home run swing, though. Really good people have made this possible, and really, really special people who have been around me for that period of time, and now new people that have come into the team have made this possible. So thank you to all of you who have been there for me through the ups and the downs, through the roller coaster, as we get here to breaking ground on this facility. So what is this facility? I think a lot of you have a general idea. This is a factory that will make medicine. It makes medicine from former nuclear bombs, actually, to the point that we're eliminating highly enriched uranium from the process is a really good thing. But I think if you trace back a lot of the parent material and where it comes from, the feedstock that will drive, the low enriched uranium that will drive this process, comes from former Russian nuclear warheads that the US has bought or taken off the market through various channels, and are now downblending. So the Department of Energy downblends this material, makes it safe so it can't be used to make bombs anymore, and then we put it into this building, and it comes out as medicine. That's just stupidly cool. Like, I mean, when you think about it, these are machines and pieces of material that were made to kill billions of people, intended to kill billions of people. And with the capacity we expect from this factory, over the lifetime of this factory, if it lives for 50 years, which is not unusual in the nuclear business, we'll treat 1 billion people with the medicine made in this factory. Taking nuclear bombs, turning it into medicine to heal people is one of the coolest stories I've ever had the opportunity to be part of. I love being able to dream these things up, but thank you to everybody in this entire room. Everyone is here for a reason. Either they have been a big part of this story, or they want to be a big part of this story. And so for everyone in this room who makes the ideas of a dreamer, me, right, just someone who can hope and dream and think big things, for everyone who makes it possible, thank you so incredibly much for being here. I want to specifically give a shout out to the Shine employees. As I mentioned, some of them have been through hell and back with me. There were times, we've always had a very transparent culture at Shine. Those of you who work there know that. There were times when we talked about our cash runway. Startups talk about cash runway. It's how much cash they have before they're out of money, right? How long they can continue to operate before they're out of money. There were times it was less than 2 weeks. And some of these people still worked here. Like, it's remarkable. Like, most people would be heading for the hills. They're like, I'm gonna go get another job because you might not be able to pay me in 2 weeks. You know, we've managed it and we've gotten the company into a healthier place these days, but a lot of them have been through hell and back. A lot of the newer ones have bought in so deeply to the concept of what we're trying to do that they put their personal lives on the side when we have big milestones coming up. We have a huge milestone coming up that the team internally has been busting their butts on, which is submitting an operating license application to the NRC. It's been all-encompassing for some of the team at Shine. They've really worked hard. I really appreciate what they've done. We're going to give something back. We're going to give a bunch of time off, hopefully, when this thing gets in, and then ask you to come back and hit it harder than ever. But I really want to say a huge thank you to everyone who works at Shine. You guys have really been kicking it lately, and it's just a great, great pleasure to work there. So, as Lisa mentioned, and Marianne as well, it's not only that we're doing this cool thing, we're building this factory that's going to turn bombs into medicine, but it's urgently needed. The impact, the need for this facility is greater than it's ever been. We look at the international supply chain, and it continues to get worse. It continues to get worse as these old reactors that have produced this product continue to age. The biggest producer in the world today is expected to leave the market around the middle of the 2020s. We're barely making it as it is. There's shortages reported regularly. Patients aren't getting the procedures they need. Patients who could be like Mandy's niece that really need this stuff. It's regular shortage today. And the supply chain is falling apart more and more. So what we're doing is critically important. It's not just a new supply, it's a vital supply. In addition to that, we've all been talking a lot about something called Moly-99, but it's important to understand that what we've developed here is a platform technology that can produce a wide range of medical isotopes. And in particular, there are new therapies being developed. New therapeutic drugs that target cancer in a therapeutic way. So Moly-99 is generally used to image disease, to diagnose disease, and advise and inform doctors on what they should do next. But these therapies actually are drugs that go in and bind to tumors and bind to cancers. And these new therapies actually are able to bind to cancers that have spread. So cancers that have metastasized in the body. You know, if you're lucky, you find a tumor early and maybe you can surgically remove that tumor from the body. But if you're not so lucky, in cases where maybe pancreatic cancer isn't detectable until it's too late and it's spread through your body, and the doctor, by the time they see it, they tell you you've got, 1 to 2 or 3 months to live, maybe 6 if you're lucky. And it's gonna kind of suck. The time you have isn't gonna be good time. And that's it. There's no good way to treat people at that stage today. These new therapeutic products actually target those drugs, or those diseases. And there's an important isotope, lutetium-177, that we are now adding to our product suite that allows us to supply that important medical supply chain. And what happens is these drugs get absorbed, they go to the tumors, and lutetium, unlike molybdenum gives off a gamma ray. It's meant to be detected outside the body. These isotopes emit a very short-range form of radiation, something called beta particles that travel about 1 millimeter in human tissue. So they only damage the tissue that absorbs them, and the drug is designed so it should only be absorbed by the cancer tissues, and this is actually going on. And so you do tremendous damage to the cancer everywhere in the body with the administration of these drugs. And then something magical seems to be happening after that, because even in that case where you set the cancer back, you've damaged the cancer tremendously, still some cells survive, and the cancer typically comes back. And they're not seeing that. And the current leading theory for that is that the human body is actually able to recognize the damaged disease everywhere now as cancer. And so it not only is doing a tremendous amount of damage, it's the first wave of an onslaught against the disease, but it's also teaching the human immune system to go after and hunt out and root out this cancer anywhere else in the body. So this is really important product, and it's something that is also in shortage today. There is a very limited supply of lutetium-177. There's one global producer in the world today. And the United States and all other markets are currently entirely dependent on ancient Russian calutrons for the raw material needed to make these products. So this is an area that we're moving very aggressively into now. So given the urgent need, given the supply chain, I'm pleased to make, in addition to our groundbreaking, 2 big announcements today that have not been publicly announced before. The first is that we intend to build a second plant in Europe by 2025. We're beginning a site selection process now. We will be going through different countries and looking for where the best place to site that building is, but we are committed to it. The reality is the largest producer in the world today is located in Europe, again expected to shut down 2025, 2026. Even with the Shine factory here in the US, there are going to be a lot of patients in the world who don't get what they need. So we're excited to be announcing that commitment and to be moving forward in that direction. The second is that we're accelerating our plans into lutetium, as I mentioned. And I'm pleased to announce today that just recently we signed actually a pivotal part of that strategy, a deal to license technology to separate lutetium from the raw material, ytterbium. We searched the entire world, started looking for what we thought were the best technologies out there to do that, and we ended up licensing this technology that allows us to separate these isotopes and create medical-grade lutetium. So there'll be a press release on that. It's with a company called IOCB, actually out of the Czech Republic, who developed a really cool process for doing that. So I'm thrilled to announce that to everybody that technology has been licensed by Shine and will allow us to get into the lutetium market much faster. So back to today. Like I said, this day I think is really important for everyone here for a wide range of reasons. And I think it might mean something different to each person in the room. There's a few things that as I thought about today and what it means for me that really stand out. And today is a beginning. It's the beginning of our real investment in Janesville. As Mark said, we've had a great relationship with the community for a long time. We've worked really hard to become part of the family here, to become part of the community here. But this today is when we start to deploy real dollars, and when we start to take the fruits of the labor that we've spent over the last 8 years, the designs, the approvals, etc., and really plant roots in Janesville. And it feels good. Janesville's felt like home from day one. The first time I came and I talked to the leaders of the city, they got it. They understood Shine, and they understood the things that we were going to go through. A lot of the things that Janesville went through with GM leaving are very similar to the things we went through in 2013, where you had a city and it was working well, and you just got dealt a major body blow, and people didn't even know if Janesville was going to be a city. But the city didn't give up. These guys are tenacious. They got aggressive with economic development. They really rebuilt this community, and Shine is just a tiny, tiny piece of that. But it was super exciting to be a tiny, tiny piece of that. The leaders in this city have vision, they have passion, and it's super exciting for us to finally be planting our roots here. That beginning means a lot to me. You can probably sense there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction today. It's really, I feel nice. But I think a lot of people really don't know what it took. We've done a lot of work. We've worked really hard. We've done things people haven't done. We've went to countless investors and been turned down because they don't understand nuclear. They don't like nuclear. They still like the word, right, without even thinking about it. They don't know how to look at it. The people in this room have supported us through all of that. So for all of us, actually, not just me, there should be a tremendous sense of satisfaction in either the bets you've placed on us or the work you've done to support our cause. This is now real. We wouldn't have started building this if we weren't at a point where we could justify building this. It's real. We've gotten private equity markets to support us, to finally believe in us after going to them time and time and again. And they were, to their credit, they would look at us and they would say, you're going to fail for all these reasons. And we say, okay, we'll come back when we've accomplished that. We'll come back when we've accomplished that. And we just keep doing that. And so the fact that we're here today, that we're breaking ground, that we're making this huge investment in the community here, leaves me with a tremendous sense of satisfaction. And I hope it does that for everyone who has been a supporter of Shine. What we're doing is extremely important. What you've done to enable this is extremely important. So thank you for that. And then I think for me, the final step is, it leaves me with hope. Those of you who know me really well, maybe some of you who don't, I do tend to expound as I'm doing right now on the future. I got into this because when I was in an undergraduate program at UW-Madison, I got the idea that wars would be fought over energy, and that we built really good weapons to wage war, and so it was going to be bad. It was going to be really bad. And so I ended up going to grad school to study nuclear fusion with the hope of making clean energy to run the world and stop wars. Well, climate change actually wasn't a thing back then. It's something talked about a lot more, but it certainly seemed clear that at some point people were going to be killing each other over energy. And that was sad. I wanted to do something about that. So I went to study nuclear fusion under this man here, Jerry Kolsinski. It's great to see you. And it turns out fusion's hard. Fusion energy is really hard. And I couldn't see a path to creating commercial fusion energy from grad school. There were a lot of neat developments in technology, but it didn't look like even the technology was ready, let alone the ability to make an economic system to build a company that could commercialize that technology. But Jerry had a really neat idea, which was fusion can help the world today. You can help improve the world with fusion even before you can make energy. And maybe by doing that, you'll make some money, but you'll also incrementally improve the technology, and doing so maybe be able to take another step beyond that. And Jerry outlined, what he would call short-term, mid-term, and long-term applications of fusion. And it wasn't just the technology. It wasn't like these were natural steps for the technology. These were natural market needs. These were global needs that people needed to help improve the world. And I just love that. Like, that was so resonant with me. And I ended up starting a company to do exactly that. My first company, Phoenix, it was Phoenix Nuclear at the time, built neutron sources using nuclear fusion reactions to improve the world, right? To do non-destructive testing. It was a very minor application, but it was somewhere where we could make a difference, and we could improve the world, and we could make some money. But there was always this plan, so I added a little bit more color, a little more detail on what Jerry said. And there was always a step 2, that was large-scale medical isotope production. When I founded Phoenix, we didn't know how to do that. I thought it'd take 10 or 20 years to figure that out. And it turns out like 3 years after founding Phoenix, the technology that is being tested right now across the street was invented. And so that's really cool. We're able to accelerate that and build this. And now we're building this huge platform that's going to help save lives, that's going to turn bombs into medicine, that's going to improve the lives of 1 billion people over its lifetime. And it's just the beginning, right? It's just the beginning of what we're going to do. We're going to take this technology and we're going to continue to improve it. There's already things starting to emerge on the sort of the horizon that can take us to the next step, the next phase 3 of the master plan to commercialize fusion energy. And I'm really excited about moving into that. This has to happen first. We've got to be successful here. We've got to build this. But when we build this, we're going to move into the next stage. And it is my hope to build one of the most impactful companies in the world with what we're starting right here. It's not because I want a big yacht. I don't. I want to leave my mark. We have a very limited period of time on this earth to do something special with the life we have. And we're all going in that direction. So today, for me, after a lot of work, hope sticks out, I think, as the strongest feeling I have. And I owe it, really, to everyone in the room. So give yourselves all a round of applause. Thank you for that. So with that, I'm going to ask you all to do what Todd said, follow his instructions, and join me in celebrating. We'll go outside, we'll do some pictures, and then we're going to grab a drink. But hang out together. We're all here by a common bond. You all believed in doing this very important thing. You've all helped do this very important thing. Enjoy each other's presence. Have a great time. Have a great party. Thank you so much for coming today.